Hey, Time to Level Up listeners, welcome back. So today I have a very interesting conversation to share with you. Krista Smith, who is a tech guru, she helps women business owners over the age of 40 with all things tech. We had a little discussion about when it's time to figure it out or when it's time to farm it out. Do you need to figure this tech stuff out or do you need to farm it out? And she has a 7-point checklist to help you make that decision. So sit back, buckle up, and listen in. Here we go.
You're listening to the Time to Level Up podcast. I'm your host, business life coach, Andrea Liebross. I help women in business commit to their own growth personally and professionally. Each week, I'll bring you strategies to help you think clearly, gain confidence, make your time productive, turn every obstacle into an opportunity, and finally overcome the overwhelm so that you can make money and manage life. Let's create a plan so you have a profitable business, successful career, and best of all, live with unapologetic ambition. Are you ready to drop the drama and figure out the how in order to reach your goals? You're in the right place. It's time to level up. Let's do this.
Hey, Time to Level Up listeners, welcome back to the podcast. I am excited to have one of my favorite people on today with me. Live from is Krista Smith. So Krista and I have been working together since the very beginning of my business when I realized that I needed someone to create my website because this was something that I did not want to do. To be really honest, I just didn't want to do it. And I didn't want to spend time trying to figure it out. And I asked Krista and hired her to help me. And she's been helping me with my website ever since and lots of other fun things. So Krista, why don't you take a minute just to introduce yourself and then we're going to get into it.
All right. Awesome. Yes, I love tech. Like that's my thing. And I love supporting women in tech over the age of 40. So that could be anything from helping them figure out the messaging on their website. That could be anything to actually launching their website, coding a website, getting into all the details of that. And then all of the things that go with the marketing of your website. Because the biggest thing that I've learned about women is that they think they get a website and then everybody's going to come to them and buy all their products and services. And what I've learned is that they need to really learn how to use their website as that marketing tool. And that's where the real juice is for me.
Yeah. And you are great at explaining things too. I'm going to throw that in there. So not only is she great at doing it, but she is great at explaining it. So I have become miraculously a lot better at some of this tech stuff. I am still not perfect. And I don't have, I just don't have like that creative eye to like, I know it doesn't look right, but I can't quite figure out how to make it look right. And Krista is so great at that. So here's what we're going to talk about today. Krista's going to share with you 7 tips to help you decide. Okay. And I am talking right now to all of you small business owners, entrepreneurs, people that have side hustles, all you just help you decide whether or not you should figure it out on your own or you should farm it out. And what we're talking about the website, the tech, that kind of stuff. Because what I've realized is when I ask my clients, if they could take all the pieces of their business and categorize them into things that they desire or are, another word, like desire equals you're passionate and proficient at it. Things that you are really not interested in doing. So you're proficient at it. Like you can do it. I mean, I can create social media posts. Okay. But I'm not really passionate about it. I don't love it. Okay. That's the things you're disinterested in. There's the things that are get you distracted, which is kind of my website, I will say, where I'm passionate about having a great website, but I am not efficient at it. So I can spend 3 hours doing something and it takes Krista like 3 minutes. Okay. So I get distracted, or that's like shiny object syndrome. And so we've got the desire zone, the distraction zone, the disinterested zone, and then we have the drudgery zone, where these are the things that you are not proficient at nor passionate about. Okay. So I always say to my clients, if it's not in the desire zone, it's in the disinterested, distraction, or drudgery zone, you might want to think about farming it out, unless it's some skill or something you want to develop. Right. So Krista, what do you say? Like, what should these women be thinking about?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that you have to understand, I've been doing this now for 12 years. So I've worked with so many women over the years. And the first thing that I've learned is that everybody loves rules. They love containers. They love, okay, so if I'm making this much money, then I hire someone. Or if I am at the point in my business where it's this, then I can outsource. And I think my first tip that I want to share is that there are no rules when it comes to deciding when you're going to outsource and delegate. Right? Like,
yeah,
you can't say this is exactly when, because for everyone, that's going to be massively different.
Yes.
And I love that 4 kind of quadrant, helping people make a decision kind of matrix formula, because I think that really helps you figure out, okay, where are the rules here that I might fit into? But just know that there are no rules. Like, that's my first.
There are no rules. There are no rules. And I think that's really important, because I find that I have to, part of where I come in is I'm really helping you think about what are your own personal rules, basically. When is it time for you to pull the plug, so to speak, and reach out, right? So that has to do with the way you're thinking about things. So I can kind of get you to a point to decide to make the decision, but I'm not the website person. So then it's time for you to take the next step.
Yeah.
Okay. What's number 2?
Number 2 slides into permission. And I know this is a hot topic for your audience, because I remember helping you figure out a lead magnet around permission. And I feel like there's sometimes just women need permission to invest in themselves. So if you're listening and you're thinking of something in your business, whether it's a tech stack or not, doesn't matter what it is. Whenever you're thinking about trying to make a decision about outsourcing or delegating something out, if you need permission to do it, consider this your permission granted. Like, sometimes I just find women just need to know that it's okay to ask for help. And it's interesting because I'm thinking about some of the people who are in my own group program. And, sometimes I say to them, look, if it makes it easier, like, I can just do this for you. Instead of teaching you how to do it, I can literally do it for you. It's probably going to take me 10 minutes and it might take you 10 hours. You decide what's worth it. And they're like, oh my God. And even just me saying that to them gives them that permission. So whatever permission that you need, take this as your permission granted. And I'm curious, is that coming up for a lot of your people? Like, is there some little permission? Yeah.
Yes. I think even, I find that they have to give them permission to even find any support. So even if it's coaching support, they are not giving themselves the permission to say, hey, I need someone to help me make these decisions. Like, let's not just even invest in getting any kind of support, even if it's just support around decision-making, thinking, approach, eliminating overwhelming things that are on their list. Yeah. So yes, I do find that as a hot topic. And here's the other interesting part. They make one decision and they're like, okay, well, I farmed everything out to Krista. It's all good.
Yeah.
Then they're going to have to give themselves permission potentially to say, hey, I don't want to do this bookkeeping anymore. Maybe I should have someone else do that. So newsflash, the permission thing never really ends. You have to continue to work at giving yourself permission. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and that actually kind of leads really lovely into kind of point number 3, which is whenever I'm trying to decide, and this goes from, I've used this in my own business. So whenever I'm trying to decide about, okay, there's something coming up and I either don't have capacity to do it or don't want to do it or don't want to learn how to do it, whatever it is, my 4th tip is to invest in some kind of coaching or consulting. And I want to dive into this with you a little bit because I know it's a hot topic for both of us around really helping your listeners and anyone who's listening actually understand the difference between a coach and a consultant.
Oh, this is so good, Krista.
Right? No, seriously,
Yes.
like when you talk about
Yes.
it, because I meet people come to me all the time. Oh, I'm a business coach. Great. Where did you get your coach training? Oh, I don't have any coach training. Then how? Like, how can you be calling yourself a business coach? Like, I think we need to break down, there's advantages to both. There is absolutely.
Right. Actually, there's advantages to both. Totally. And I think how I kind of explain it sometimes to my audience is if you were going to go climb a mountain and you're standing at the bottom and you're looking up and you say, I want to get to the top. If you just want the fastest way, you don't need any help. Someone's going to hand you a map and say, go, like, good luck, have fun. That's a consultant. They're just using their expertise from the past to hand you the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically tell you what to do. And then coaching, I say, if you want someone to come along with you on the climb up the mountain and maybe help you navigate some roadblocks along the way, and if we have to change paths, have someone help you make that decision, that's the coach, right? So the coach is really helping guide you as how you want to do things kind of on your, I like to say, on your own terms. A consultant isn't guiding you at all on their own terms. They're just telling you what to do. So they're super important.
Yeah, equally. Equally. And at different times you can bring on both.
Yes.
But whenever you're thinking about trying to decide, I feel like you need someone in your corner, and that person, a coach or a consultant, there's strategy involved there. A coach is going to ask you the questions to help you find the right answers. And the consultant is going to give you the plan. Like, here you go. Like, this is the fastest way to get there. Go for it.
Yep.
What happens when your life experiences are different than every other person who's taken that road before? That's where the consultants fail, in my opinion, because they're not there to support your unique needs, right?
They are not.
So I think it's just, and you don't always need to go right into a 5-month, a 6-month, a 3-month engagement. Like, even if you've worked in the past with someone, just going back to them and saying, can I have a one-off? Like, I know I did my previous clients, like, yeah, absolutely. Come in. Let's figure out what you need right now and just get you on your way. And there's also tons of coaches and consultants who are offering like buy my day, get in there. Like you don't always have to do the big meal deal. You can always ask for a snack size portion. And even if a coach or a consultant doesn't have that listed as a service on their website, it's always worth asking.
Ask. Absolutely.
Because you never know when people are going to say yes. But I feel like if you have a coach or a consultant in your corner to help really get to the heart of, okay, what's going on here? What do you really need? Sometimes you need that outside perspective. That's the point of really hiring someone.
That is the point.
You need someone to see what you can't see, because when you're in the weeds of it, sometimes you can't see your way out.
Right. I always like to say you're stuck in the peanut butter jar and you're stuck in there and you can't read the label. So you need someone to help you read the label. And with coaching, like everybody's different. So it's really, if I'm doing my job properly, I am not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to ask you the questions so that you can find what works for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And there's absolutely a time and place for coaches to step into more of a mentor role or a consultant role. And a coach, a trained coach, is going to say to you, hey, Andrea, for a second, I'm going to step out of coach role and I'm going to step into a mentor role. Are you okay with that? Because sometimes there's lots of value that we can bring, or a perspective that we might be able to show up with that might help them. And then you flip right back into coach role and help them take that new piece of information, integrate it with what's going on in their lives, and then help them find that way forward.
Yes. Because there's a difference, basically. And also, I think when I've been working with you, just as an example, sometimes I'll say to Krista, like, here's what I need, go for it. Like, I don't want to know anything else. Figure it out. Other times I'm like, hey, can you help me think through this?
Yeah.
Right. So there's a place for both.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. And it's very empowering as the client to know that you can request both.
Yes, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
It's the person, whoever you're working with, whether they can decide whether they may not have anything that they feel like would serve you. And it's better for them to stay coach mode the whole time. I personally feel I like it better when there can be yes, if I ask for, hey, do you have any experience with this? Oh, okay, that's your experience. Cool. Then I want them to go right back into coach mode. That makes me go further faster every single time.
I agree. Completely agree.
So tip number 4.
Yeah.
I have observed this very cool thing where, and I call it abundance mindset and scarcity mindset. So people
Me
who
too.
are, yep, there are people who are in a scarcity mindset. So what's your scarcity mindset? Let me ask you that. Who are the people? What kinds of decisions are they making?
They are making decisions based off of
or a lack, right? Like
or lack.
I'm not going to have enough money if I pay for this person to do this, or if I take on this other subscription, or if I pay. Like, do I really need to invest in this tech right now?
A lot of worrying ahead of time.
Yes.
Like, well, what if it doesn't work?
What if it doesn't work? Right. So that's all the coaching mindset stuff, because that's just your inner critic trying to keep you safe. That's limiting beliefs. That's just textbook. You need someone to help you work through that. Whereas if you realize it, and we use that same example that we were talking about earlier, that, just yesterday, let's use the yesterday example. You sent me off the thing in Canva, said, I need this done. What's wrong? Why can't I get it to work? It's literally because you were just putting way too much information on it. But I'm just like, well, tell me what it is that you're trying to do. Once we learned that, in 10 minutes, I could turn it around.
I know.
Now, you could have sat with that for another 5 hours and fiddled with it and still come to me and said, what am I doing? What am I missing? I can't figure out what's wrong right there.
Right. And actually, by you asking me some questions, it really became very clear what was wrong. And in 20 seconds, you fixed it. And you're right. I could have kept working on it for 5 hours.
Yeah.
True.
So that's, that's that. Okay. I can do it myself. And there is, I think, a piece to, I can do it myself. It's when you start to lose traction and you're spinning your wheels, that's when you need to reach out. And then the people who have an abundance mindset are like, you know what? There is enough business for everybody. There is enough clients for the whole world. I don't have to worry about anything. There's no competition. And, oh, you know what? I'm going to pay her for her expertise because she's going to get me further faster. And it's going to take her an hour, which is going to take me 5. And my time is worth more than that. And by being in that abundance mindset, you're then able to go and open yourself up for so much more work, because you've taken all those terrible to-dos off your list and outsourced them.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say, what's stopping you from doing that? And the only thing that's stopping you is that scarcity mindset, to be honest.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that moves us into number 5. And it kind of goes, you've actually touched on both 5 and 6 a little bit. And the number 5 is knowing what's important. So I really recommend working with a coach to identify what your core values are. For example, for me, I have a very high value around professional development. I do a tremendous amount of it myself. I invest in myself. I invest in training, always, so that I can do better and be better for my clients. Because as my business grows, I want to help your business grow. And if me taking, for example, last year became a StoryBrand certified guide, and that was a significant investment to do that. I'm always hiring a coach, and I'm working with a coach myself. Like, if I am a coach, of course I know that I need a coach. But in understanding that I have this high value around professional development, when I'm looking to partner with someone else, I equally like to know that they have a huge value around professional development as well.
Yes, I think so too. So you've got to really know what is important to you. What do you value?
Yeah, because you can use that. You can use those values. Like, once you identify them, it's an easy, I'm going to say, litmus test or a barometer for decision making, right? Like, you can say, okay, well, you know what? I really value time with my friends and family. Okay, well, if time with your friends and family is really important to you and you're spending 10 hours messing around in Canva, is that really honoring the value of your friends and family?
Yeah, so I say sometimes,
it's an easy way, right? It's an easy way to go, oh, you know what? No, I can use my values here and bring these in and say, no, I want to outsource this. I want to find someone who can help me with this piece, whether it's accounting or, it doesn't matter what it is.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Always,
I always say, if you look at your calendar, or you look at what you did, not necessarily look at your calendar, because that doesn't always reflect what you did, right? But if you kind of think about what you've done in the last 24 hours or week, do those things align with your values? If spending time with family and friends is important, well, how much time did you spend with family and friends? And how could you have created more time to do that? What kind of choices, right? Because are your choices that you're making aligning with what's important to you, right? So do they align with your values? Do they align with your goals?
Yeah.
Right. So if your goal, if we're talking about business owners, is to get your business off the ground in the next, 3 months. Okay. So are your choices of how you're spending your time aligning with getting that business off the ground in the next 3 months? And do you need some support to do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think about like some of the easy things that I find people spin their wheels with in the beginning. And I can remember even when you first came to me, like logo, business cards.
I was really hung up on that stupid logo.
Everybody's hung up on
but it makes zero. It's like,
right?
It's not important, but it's I find sometimes when I get a new client that's a new business owner, their first thing is like, I need to get a logo. I need to have colors. I need to have a website. What? Like, yes, totally true. But we can make, you do not need to spend time doing that. Let's push that out to someone else so that you can spend your time managing your mind and your thinking about what you want this business to look like.
Yes.
Like,
and actually grow the business, because unless you're actually doing logo design or color development or business card, like big picture, who uses, let's talk about, being in COVID, but who even uses business cards anymore? I don't even take business cards because I know I'm going to recycle them. And I just feel like that's a waste. So I would just rather take a picture with my phone and be done with it. But it's interesting to me, the amount of women that get tied up into those things.
Yeah. So I call that like the passive action. Okay. So it's in a sense of they want to learn more. They want to watch more. They want to whatever more. Okay. Like they want to learn, but they're not doing the massive action, which is the making offers or asking to help someone or showing someone how they need you. So if you're stuck in that kind of passive action stuff and you're continuing to learn how to create a logo, like really, it's not moving the needle.
No.
It's not moving the needle.
No, and I think that there's, so going into tip number 6, which I feel is another one that a coach can really help you do, which is identify your zone of genius. You need to know where you're just on fire. And if you're an entrepreneur, you started your business because of a particular passion or a connection. Like it often feels more like you're giving, it's purposeful work. I find most of the women that I attract, they're doing it because they're anchored into a reason. And as soon as they identify their zone of genius, and what I mean by that is really identifying the pieces of you that make you uniquely qualified to be able to deliver the service that you offer for your clients. So for example, for me, my background, like I was in education, I was a teacher. So when I can be a teacher, when I can be a coach, and when I can show up in that capacity, and when I can be creative, when all of those 3 things align, boom, I'm on fire. Like you can't stop me. There's nothing that you can do that could stop me from doing that. And knowing what my knowing that numbers and accounting and invoicing fall way outside that was the first thing that I got rid of when it was time to let something go.
So really what you're saying is, I sometimes say it's where your skills, so the things that you know how to do, align or overlap. I picture it like a Venn diagram when they overlap
with 3 Venn diagrams instead of 2. Yeah. Yes.
Like where your skills and your wills overlap. Wills meaning what you want to be doing. That's your genius zone in there. It's also, another way to think about it is the things that you're proficient at and the things that you're passionate about. That intersection, that's your genius zone or your desired zone. Everything else is not. Right. So if you figure out where that zone is, sooner rather than later, you're going to make your life so much easier. Yeah. So much easier.
Yeah. And I feel like there's almost, so I actually thought of just another tip. So 7 is when
7A.
Let's do 7A and 7B. 7A is like in alignment with those things. And which it's fascinating to me, the amount of women that come to me, and I'm sure that you find the same thing. And we sit down and we talk about what I can do for them, and I deliver the proposal for them. And I always ask, usually in that first conversation, okay, who else am I going to need to convince that this is a smart decision for you? Because often they will say, and it always surprises me, their husbands or their partners or their Aunt Susie or whatever. And I always say, okay, great. I'm glad to know that. And I think 2 things when I do that. One is that when I was married, I never asked my husband what I wanted to do with my business because he wasn't my ideal client. So how could he ever help me make an informed decision about what will be best for my business? It doesn't even make sense. So, and can you ever imagine in a million years your husband coming to you and saying, hey, I'm going to invest in this thing in my business. What do you think? And then actually taking whatever, like it just, men wouldn't do that.
No. Men wouldn't do that. I find that a lot of times when someone's trying to figure out if they should invest in coaching, they say, well, I have to run this by my husband or partner or whatever. Like we never make any decisions that are more than X number of dollars without consulting with each other. Consulting, notice that, right? Consulting with each other. So that, go back to that consulting word. That's when someone tells you what to do, right? So I thought on that, is he or she going to be the one doing the work? So if you're saying, I want to engage in coaching, that means you're starting to do your own work around your thinking. Is he doing the work around your thinking? No. So why are we even asking him? How is he going to know if this is a smart use of funds? Right. And then I want to make sure I'm going to get enough value out of it.
Okay, that's a different story. That's a different answer than I'm going to run this by my husband.
Yes. But then sometimes it goes, he's going to want to know what I'm getting out of it. Right. So they sometimes that then goes into this value discussion. Guess what? You're going to get as much value out of it as you want.
Yeah. But it's a fascinating fact that is true.
It is.
And what I would love anybody who's listening to know is that you don't need anybody's permission. You don't need anybody's answer to have.
No.
You'll know if you really listen to your intuition, if it's going to be a smart decision for you, whatever that decision is.
Correct. I completely agree. So you have to really listen to yourself, because guess what? Why are you asking that another reason you're asking the other person is if it quote unquote, you invest and it quote unquote doesn't work, then you're kind of giving yourself someone to blame. Well, you told me it was a good idea. So you're looking to
it's validation. They want validation.
It's validation.
So if you're looking for validation, validate it with your audience. Validate it with the very people that you're serving. If it's going to really make a difference and help you grow your business, which is what we're all interested in. And I think, that's an important topic too, like just to understand. And money is sometimes, I don't want to say it's taboo, but what I found is that it doesn't matter what the financial reward is, even if you want to give all your money away. The whole purpose is so that you are going to make more money, to have the freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do. If that's philanthropy, that's philanthropy. If that's vacation fund for your family, that's vacation fund for your family. If that's your retirement, then that's your retirement. It doesn't matter what it is, but we're all in this to grow our business. So if you want to grow your business, that means getting uncomfortable.
It does. Getting uncomfortable. It's not right, because it's not going to feel great. Sometimes I say, if this feels like a scary decision and it feels like you want to vomit, good. Because then that means you're doing the right thing.
Yep. That's exactly where you should be pushing yourself. You should feel like, this feels really scary. It should feel scary. That's where you're going to have the most growth and most expansive, beautifulness, for lack of a better word. All right, 7B. Are you ready for my last tip?
I'm ready for 7B.
My last tip is something that you even highlighted too, which is auditing and outsourcing. So literally taking the time when you have things on your to-do list, or you have things that you're just like, do I really want to be doing this? Write down what you're doing. So audit your own time and how much time it takes you to do said task. Because if you're actually not getting to the important things on your to-do list and you're spinning your wheels, wasting your time on stupid things, that's a really good decision maker too, to help you decide, okay, yeah, you know what? I can go to YouTube and learn this myself, or I can take a course to learn how to DIY it, or you know what? I just want to outsource this.
Yep. Look, I would say, is it something that you want, you need to do, plan, delegate, or eliminate? Yeah. Which is it?
Yeah.
Which is it, right? So, yeah. So and also the things that you need to plan, even if you need to plan in order to prepare to delegate, it's worth it.
Yes.
It's worth it. Because it's the more time you kind of spend up front figuring out what exactly you want, the better off you are. So I just did a whole thing about levels of delegation, or like kind of, where are you in the delegating? Are you in the delegating that just says, go do it? Like, I don't care what it looks like. Or are you in the kind of mode where you want to delegate, but you want to check in at every step of the way? So those are all different skills that you need to kind of,
and they're all valuable at different times, depending on what season of business that you're in. And you will go through different seasons. And what you, I mean, like even just looking at your brand, like what we started with is not the beautiful brand that you have now. So it's okay also to, like, when I go back to that first one that I talked about, which is there are no rules. A lot of women want rules for their brand. They want, okay, what are my brand guidelines? Like, what are the colors? What are the fonts? And if you get too stuck in those weeds and guidelines, you actually can't evolve and grow. And we needed to introduce some new colors to your brand this year, like when we launched your website. And it's okay to be expansive and change it and update it. You know, huge brands usually go under a rebrand of some kind, even if it's like minutely changing details on a logo or updating typefaces. Like, you need to stay fresh and current, and it's okay that there are no rules.
It's okay. One of my favorite sayings. And it's okay. Yep. It's nothing is set in stone. We can always, nor should it be. You should be evolving at always. Everything's just a process. It's a process. Unfortunately, never ends, or fortunately, like you can kind of look at that 2 different ways. Like, isn't it great that we don't have to say this is it forever and ever? Because if it was,
I think our left brain people, like the logical, who like the rules, who like the containers, who like that it's like one that they feel like, I don't know, or even people who, once they get their website up, they think it's launched and that's it. They don't have to ever do anything about it again. And then we have our right brain people who don't like the rules, who don't want those containers, who want to be able to expand and move and change and grow and
that's true.
Do all the things. I think we could each learn from other, and those of us who are kind of in the middle who enjoy both at different times. Equally, it's important to tap into all parts of your personality.
It is. So true. So true. So, well, this has been super fun.
Yes.
Super fun.
Thank you for having me as a guest. I so love talking. I mean, we have great chats whenever we talk.
We do. We do. So I'm going to, based on what we talked about, I'm going to share in the show notes that free download that actually you helped me create about permission.
Yeah.
So granting yourself permission.
Yeah.
So I'm going to dig that out and put a link to it in the show notes. And if people wanted to reach out to you, I'm going to have all that info in the show notes, but why don't you just share what is the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah. So I call Activate Her Awesome my home. So activateherawesome.com, and I'm Activate Her Awesome on Instagram. And I also have my own podcast, and you certainly connect that through activateherawesome.com, but you can also find that at howcanthisbeeasy.com.
How can this be easy?
That's my whole philosophy. How can this be easy? I just find so many women over 40 like to overcomplicate the tech. And I like to come in with my magic wand and make it super easy for you. I
love that. I always like to say, I think actually the podcast before this, or look back in the podcast, because one of them is called Simple, Doable, and Fun. And I like easy.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining Krista and I today. I hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as we did having it. If you did enjoy it, I would encourage you to take a screenshot right now of that podcast cover and share it, because really what you're doing is sharing something amazing with someone else, and people appreciate it when you share your knowledge. If you'd like to work with either of us directly, head over to the show notes, catch the links, drop us a line, and we will chat. Until next week, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you're ready to commit to personal and professional growth, move forward, make money, and manage life, head to AndreaLiebross.com. That's AndreaLiebross.com. BROSS.com to find out about the ways we can work together. Until next time, go level up.